In this last section about circles, we're going to be looking at circles in the coordinate plane. So how do we graph it? How do we write the equation? So the equation of a circle is based on the radius and the fact that all points of a circle are equidistant from the center. And since we're talking about the distance from the center to any point on the circumference to create the radius, we're going to basically derive our equation for a circle from the distance formula. So remember the distance formula right there with your d equals x2 minus x1 squared plus the quantity y2 minus y1 squared. What we're going to do is basically look at your 2 points using hk for the center and any other point on the circle xy. So basically think about your h and k as where you start. So this can be the x1, y1 in our equation, and the other point, any other point, x2, y2. And all I'm going to do is go ahead and substitute that in, and that's going to be the length of your radius. So radius equals the square root of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. And that is really the equation of a circle. To make things maybe a little bit easier, what we're going to do is we're just going to square both sides and say that r squared equals x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. And that way, we clean it up a little bit, right? There's no square root, but really they're the same thing as the distance formula up there. But this bottom piece is what we know as our equation of a circle. So given the center hk and radius r, the equation that represents the circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And again, you can write it either way. We want this format because that's what we standardly know as the equation of a circle, but again, it's basically the distance formula. So 2 goals today: being able to write the equation and graph your circle. Remember the key pieces: you need to know the center h and k and the radius r, and we're always subtracting h, subtracting k. Okay? So if you're given the center, hk, and radius 3, super simple, just plug it in. So we get x minus 4 squared plus y minus negative 2 squared equals, don't forget it's r squared, so 3 to the second power. Simplify as much as you can, so we get x minus 4 to the second power plus y plus 2 squared equals 9, and there's your equation. Okay? So when you look at number 2, we still want the same thing. We want h and k, so look for center. Here's h and k, but you might say, wait a minute, where's r? Because I don't see r. Well, how can you find r? Well, hopefully you remember we found r earlier by taking any other point x, y, and plugging it hk, x, and y into your distance formula. So radius, again, is based on your distance formula. So the square root of negative 2 minus negative 6 plus 6 minus 3 to the second power, right? So radius equals the square root of, minus the negative is the positive, so this will be 4 squared plus 3 squared. So radius, radius equals square root of 25, which is 5. So now I have r, now I have hk, so the equation is x minus negative 6 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 5 to the second power. Simplify that to x plus 6 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 25. So you might have thought, well, can't I just stop here where it's r and then square both sides and get r squared? You could, just to get that 25. I like to go all the way just to r. That way, if I'm graphing this, I can remember what that actual radius is, or if I'm asking you to find the area or the circumference of the circle, we've got what r actually equals. Okay? Go ahead and try 3, and let's see what you get. So hopefully after you finished your distance formula, we saw radius is 4. Just plugging it all in, we get the equation that you see right here. Alright? Last thing, just how do we graph this circle? So again, the 2 key pieces, we need to know its center and radius. So remember, it's always x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So the key thing to remember, we have to square root the last number in the or what the equation equals to get r, and then do the opposite of h and k. So if you actually take a look at number 2 first, this one might be a little bit easier to see. So you know h is going to be the opposite of 1 here, so h is negative 1. Y is going to, or excuse me, k is the opposite of this negative 2, which is positive 2, and this is r squared, so r equals 3. So we're going to use these 3 pieces of information to graph your circle. Okay? So start by plotting the center. The center is at negative 1, positive 2, right? So again, just to be clear, the center is h comma k, negative 1, 2, or the opposite numbers of what you see in the parentheses. So I'm going to go to negative 1, positive 2. There's my center. The radius is 3. The easiest thing to do, in my opinion, is just to go left, right, up, and down 3 spaces. Because remember, we want to be equidistant from the center, and it's really hard to estimate 3 when we're going diagonally. So you can do this if you have a compass handy. Just put your compass center on the center of the circle, HK, and then your point on one of the 4 dots, and go ahead and complete it, or just kind of sketch it. And I know my circles when I sketch kind of look not so circle-like, but as long as I've got my circle center and the radius correct, I'm happy with the sketch. Okay? Last thing, number 1, when you don't have numbers next to x and y, you might think, oh my gosh, what is that going to be? Remember, don't forget about placeholders. This is the same thing as x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals r squared, which is 5 to the second power. So here your h and k, your center, is going to be 0, 0, and radius is 5. Okay? And same thing, just put your center as your first dot, and then go up, down, left, right, the number for the radius. And I just say do your best to sketch it, make sure you do have a circle. If you want to double check though, and see if you're correct in your sketch, assuming your scale is the same on x and y, so if we're just going by ones, we can go ahead and use a compass, and that should give us a full circle. Okay? So that's it for circles. Thanks for listening.